everyone, and welcome back to another Better Not Perfect podcast. I am Dr. Shay Butler, your host and author of Better Not Perfect From Hot Mess to Life Success. And this is our podcast. And you may notice that we look a little different today. We have a special guest in studio with us. And this is,
Dr. Odo Butler, or
yeah,
you call it.
otherwise known as Dr. Boo. And my husband, my partner for life. And you all know me as Dr. Shay, but he knows me as Dr. Bay. And
Yeah. Thank you for inviting me on your show, Dr. Bay, and I'm so appreciative of being here. I'm seriously thinking about like what you're up to. And so no,
and he
thank you.
knows me, y'all. I'm always up to something.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
you know, in the book, those of you who have read it know that chapter 5 and 6 really talk about our relationship. We delve into our marriage. And I've invited him here today because, one, you have heard about me talk about the Power Couple podcast that we started. Did we start before COVID or?
Yeah, we did start it before COVID
Yeah.
because when we were interviewing people from like church and other
Hmm.
places,
Hmm.
it was before COVID. It was
Yeah.
before
Yeah.
COVID. Yeah.
So, one day we were just sitting around in our living room and doing what we do. We just talk, we just talk about life. We talk about love. We talk about family. We talk about community. And we said, these conversations are really great. And maybe we should share them with not the world. At first, it started out with just our small group and community. We thought we'd just have a Facebook page and invite a few friends to join us because we knew that other couples were having some difficulties or some challenges, and they were asking us specific questions about how we would handle certain situations. So we thought it might be good to just open up our house and talk through some issues that we've had as couples, as a family, and just get real open, honest, and authentic. And we tried it and it worked.
I didn't know how many people listened to it.
I know.
We were shocked by that,
Mm-hmm.
and we were shocked by the people who came on and
Mm-hmm.
spoke with us, and some of the insight that you got from different couples and different marriages and how people relationships are. So, um, thank you, babe. I mean, it's been interesting. I'm usually not as open about our thoughts and our feelings, but it's been pretty good. I think that it's been beneficial for folks.
Right.
And if that's the case, then yeah, absolutely. So,
Yeah, so if you haven't picked up on it by now, if you've read the book, I'm very open and very transparent. And we were just sitting home in our living room and we literally used our iPhones
yeah,
and just started to record. And we met, someone who's a friend of the family who said, "Hey, I can edit
yeah,
those for you."
yeah,
And we did it and we just put it out there in the ethos and the response was amazing. I tell you, people wanted more. They
hmm
said, "When's the next episode?" But what we did when we started was we didn't know
hmm
how well it would be received and then how much people would want more of it. So we had to really take a step back for a little while because COVID came and we did a few through COVID. We interviewed other couples and it was really successful.
yeah,
So we've been asked to bring it back.
yeah.
So the reason that Dr. the Dr. Boo here is on the show with me today is to really talk about chapter 5. And we're also going to talk about chapter 6 in the next episode. But today it's all about chapter 5. And it's our origin story, And I think in hearing it and hearing us talk about it together in the way that we did when the cameras were off on the Power Couple podcast, because the cameras were off, it was an audio podcast. We just kind of kicked back and we just talked about and laughed about and just had a good time.
Yeah.
So we wanted to share a little bit about that with you and also just share with you our origin story because it's important to the book and to the story. So I don't know, man. You ready to dig right into this?
Yeah, I mean, context, right? Like we've been married for what?
Oh man, you gonna catch me up with that? Usually it's the dude.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Usually it's the
yeah, yeah.
dude. But
17 years.
17 years.
17
Okay,
years.
good. I got it right. 17 years. Yep.
Yes,
See, time flies when you're having fun.
and it has flown by. and it's and
Indeed,
it's
indeed.
been pretty quick, and it's been a great ride. And so, I guess, I mean, how do you want to talk about the origin story? How do you want to get into this? Because I mean, you're an awesome storyteller. And so, as far as getting into the details of how we met, or getting into the details of how we grew as a family, or we grew together as a family, um, it's probably important because I think a lot of times for people, when they talk about relationships, when they talk about marriage, when they talk about coming together, bringing two people together, people want to look for this perfect thing. And there's no such thing, right? It's about the right person for yourself. It's about being able to love people um, beyond all the other stuff, and being able to trust that someone won't hurt you and that you won't hurt them. And so I guess as we delve into it,
Mm-hmm.
into the story, because I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to get all preachy, um, where do you want to start? Like how we met?
Well, how we met is funny, but well, you know what? The audience knows. Those who read the book know that I was really coming through a period of life where there was this dark period, and I had just broke through, and I was in this place of healing, of just trying to find myself. I was on this journey of what we talk about on the podcast, learning myself so that I could love myself, so that I could be myself unapologetically. So that's where I was when we met. Where were you, do you think, stage of life, frame of life, when we
well,
met?
well, first of all, I was like 60 pounds lighter, and but
Still
when
fine though. Can I just say? I just
I,
need to
I
stop.
appreciate it.
Okay,
Well,
stop.
you're in love. You're in
That's
love.
true. That's
So,
true. That's true.
but
Mm-hmm.
when we met, I was just getting out of the military, and I had gone through a traumatic experience of like a lot of young people, gone through college, it didn't work out, um, gone to worked for some dead end jobs, ended up going into the military, and somewhere in the military, I kind of found my focus,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been that experience was a blessing for me because I would not have chosen it if not for the tough times that led to me doing it. But I'm so glad I did it, and in doing it, I met a lot of great people. I got a chance to travel the world, and it gave me an opportunity to see what I could do. It showed me that I could do certain things if I really put my focus into it. Something I didn't know about myself. And so when we met, um, I was like, nah, like I saw you. I thought you were beautiful. But I was like, I'm not going back to the fleet for nobody. I said, uh, I said, hey, listen, I'm not gonna mess
Mm.
around and lose my focus
Mm.
and be back swabbing decks in the middle of the Strait to Hormuz or something. So I knew that I knew that I wanted to be focused,
Mm-hmm.
and the way God worked it out
Mm-hmm.
is that he put us in a position to connect. Um,
Now I gotta stop you there because I think God did it with a little help from me. Okay, because the reality is, y'all, when he first saw me, he did not see me. He looked right through me. He was standing in conversation with someone that we both knew, and they were engaged in conversation. I'm standing there, and this man does not introduce himself. He does not look at me. He does not acknowledge my presence. And I thought, how rude.
it's called military discipline. so so but I
Uh-huh.
thought the two of you were together at the time. At
So I was
first,
with a guy, and he
yeah,
thought that we were together,
I thought you were together, and
but we weren't.
you
It
weren't.
was my friend
Yeah,
and supervisor at the time, and we were on our way to a meeting.
yeah,
And you all recalled one another from your first time. This all happened on a
yeah.
college campus where I worked and where Dr. Boo over here returned back to school to finish his degree.
Yeah, so I saw you, and like I said, I was like, listen, you're not gonna, hi, hey, how are you? Keep it moving. And,
Mhm.
you extended your hand, to being the person that you are. You introduced yourself. You wasn't waiting for an introduction. You were like, hi, my
Mhm.
name is
Mhm.
Shay Brown.
Mhm.
And,
That
yeah,
was the next day I did. So that whole experience
yeah,
played out in the campus center
yeah,
where we first did not meet. And then I happened to see you the next day, and I tell the
yeah.
funny story in the book. So you have to buy the book if you want to hear the funny story about how I smoothly gave him my business card and how he followed up like
Because I wasn't smooth. I was just direct. Like, there was no smooth.
but really that's what attracted me to him. The fact that he brought no game. There were no games
Yeah,
at all. It was about authenticity. And as a person who was just coming off a really rough time in life, who was really all about finding out who I was and what I wanted for myself and my future, it was a relief to meet someone who showed up authentically as who they were, and from the very beginning there was no games.
you know what? And I didn't think about it until you just said that. I mean, I've heard you say that before, but you know, that's probably key to the early starts of a relationship is no games.
Mhm.
I think
Mhm.
that if you can start off a committed relationship with someone without lies or
Mhm.
games
Or
or
just by being who
non-truths.
you really
Yeah,
are.
yeah, yeah.
Because the reality was there were times in my life in my younger years when I liked games.
Yeah,
Games were fun.
yeah.
And if I could outgame you or you outgame me, um, but that was like back in chapter one, a hot mess.
Yeah.
Um, when I was a hot mess. But by the time chapter five came along, by the time I had gone through that phase and stage of life, I was looking for someone who was just real. And to be able to show up as who you really are is so important, because if a person doesn't like you for who you really are, then that's not the person for you. So it just cuts time, right? So
Yeah,
you don't
yeah,
you get to a phase in life where you just don't want any more games. And
yeah.
I really appreciated that about you. You saw something you liked when you realized it was available, and I wasn't with the guy that you
Yeah.
met me with.
Hmm.
You saw something you liked and you said, I'm going to call her and I'm going to ask her out. And I saw something I liked. So, when I did see him the next day, after that, the day after we didn't meet, I stepped up and introduced myself. And when he made the call, it literally was the same day. And I responded in the same day because we showed real interest in each other.
Yeah.
And, and then we were off to the races. So let's talk about the relationship though. Like in the early days, I
Yeah.
mean, like, we went out, had a great night. You were like a red-blooded sailor.
I, I mean, what I will say is this too.
Mhm.
Before we talk about all that,
Mhm.
I will say that I thank God that I knocked you up.
Oh,
and
wait a
so
minute. You just jumped like way ahead to
and
chapter
yeah,
six.
yeah, yeah.
Okay,
And
but
the
but
reason
go
why I say
ahead.
that,
Yeah.
the reason why I say that is this,
Mhm.
is that you don't know a lot of times when God brings a blessing into your life. You may not go about it the right way,
Mhm.
but I think that sometimes, because I would not have been able to conceptualize um, our relationship, who you are, what our family has grown into at that space,
Mhm.
at that time.
Mhm.
So I can't say that, I had this strategy or I had these thoughts or any of those things. I can honestly say that a lot of it was a blessing and luck and and
Mhm.
and me being blessed in ways that I don't deserve.
Mhm. But
And
can you please explain to the audience that you did not knock me up on the first date?
no,
Because I just said you were a red-blooded sailor, and you just
no,
went
I
right to knocking me up.
no, I did not knock her up on the first date, and she.
Or a better way to say is make me with child.
No, I did
No.
not. I did not make her with child, and actually, she shut me down on the first date,
Mhm.
and and I had no concept of that at the time. I'm like, hey, I like you. What's up? And but you were like,
Well, the concept
what?
was, and we talked about this.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
was the M word that I gave you that you pondered on and
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. So, so, oh my gosh. So, she, she said when we dated, I thought this was the most courageous thing she said. She said, "I need to know that you're monogamous. That this is a monogamous relationship." And I was like, "Wow!" Like I had to think about that for a second. Like no one had ever said that to me, and just boldly said, "Like, listen, we are together. No one else." And I,
well, but I said that after a couple dates when
yeah,
I realized I like this guy,
yeah,
and we had already explored enough to know that we were attracted to each other.
yeah,
But before we'd actually had an intimate moment or before we actually had sex,
yeah,
we
yeah, yeah,
actually were dating.
yeah.
And when things started to feel like they might get serious or things were headed in that direction, I said, man, I got to have this conversation. I've got to have a conversation with this dude because I really like him. And if we do go further, I need to know that we're on the same page about, monogamy, being, I'm with you and you're with me. And to have that conversation before sex.
Which is it makes sense. It
Mhm.
makes perfect sense, but so many people don't do it.
Right.
And so I thought I was taken back by that, but it's true. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do. It
Mhm.
makes sense. It avoids so many issues that can come
Mhm.
up in a relationship, and it makes a person clearly think about what their intentions are in a committed relationship,
Yeah.
at least from the man's perspective. But
Well, you know, and I know why a lot of women don't do it, so sisters hear me out if this falls in or sounds familiar to you. But a lot of times we won't have that conversation because we fear that we'll run the guy off. But it's been my experience and the experience that I know with women that I've either mentored and known through the years that if a guy is into you and he really is on that same page where he really wants to be with you, you having that conversation is not going to scare him off. It will make him think, it will make him ponder and wonder, maybe, okay, I'm feeling her, but am I feeling her that much? And so sometimes we're afraid to broach the subject because we think that, in essence, we might be rejected and the person might go. But the truth is that that's something we want to know and should and need to know before we give ourselves.
broach the subject. I mean, it makes sense to bring it up. I think that you don't want to leave that ambiguity out there in a relationship with someone. It can be tough, but I think that it's important for men and women, really, nowadays, to say that if you're about being in an exclusive relationship with someone, that it's clear that this is a monogamous relationship, that you are committed to each other for so many reasons. And if the person isn't committed to that, it'll hurt. But it's better to get the hurt on the front end than the back end. And so, I mean, you don't, anything of value that you're putting out there, you don't want someone to play with it, right? And I know this is a simple thing, but if you're selling a car, you don't want random people showing up to take your car for a test drive and, kicking the tires if they have no intention of buying it. If you're selling a home, you don't want random people, tracking through your home if they're not really intending on buying it, if they have no capacity to buy it. So if a person doesn't have the capacity to love you in the way that you need to, or the willingness to do it, then it's better to learn on the front end than to wait
Mm-hmm.
until you're at closing and this person, um, you know, I like to say, what's my term that I use when I say it doesn't work out the way that you get betrayed.
Oh
So,
yeah, I've been
yeah,
betrayed.
you don't want to be
Yeah.
betrayed at the
Mm-mm.
moment of truth.
Right.
And so it's better to put, it doesn't mean that bad things can't happen or that you could, a good person, it could be, could work out for you later with this person. But it's better to be, because, I mean, if there's a better person out there for you, how can you get to that person if you're wasting your time being with someone who's not committed to you? And
Mm-hmm.
so, and if you're not looking for commitment, then you need to be clear about that as well,
Right.
and because commitment is a two-way street, right? It's,
Right.
you have to be willing to make the changes in your life as well as that person.
Right, right. Don't throw out the M word, ladies, monogamy, unless you're willing to also enter into a monogamous relationship.
Yeah.
But I brought it up in the book because I have spoken to women who, when I give keynotes or workshops, and young women particularly who want to know, how do I, meet Mr. Forever, like, and initially it's so funny because I would be at these women empowerment leadership summits and doing workshops, and with young women under, in their 20s and 30s, and I'm thinking they're going to ask me about, how did I launch my career? How do I get a mentor? What the sponsorship look like. And so they read my bio, and a lot of times, the questions are, how do you manage it all? How did you meet your husband? How did you find a good man? Where did you go? What I mean, those are the questions. I think women um are who are driven and ambitious and professional, who want to go on that professional track, or want to launch a career. uh, I think a lot of times women know how to find mentors to do that. uh, but what I think also is the case is that a lot of times we don't have a lot of conversations about the personal side of that: dating, marriage, um, relationships, and partnership with our careers and our career tracks. So that's one of the reasons why I felt it was so important to write this book and to sort of be helpful to women as a guide as you seek to grow your career or your chosen profession, and you seek to manage your friendships, and you seek to be a value in your community, and all the things that you want to do to lead. You haven't neglected the personal side, the love side of your life. And the fact that there's so many questions when I'm out on the road, from women, said this is important enough for me to put this in the book, share our story. And our story goes into much more detail in the book. But I really wanted you to have some takeaways for today. And that takeaway is, one, enter into any relationship the same way you would enter into any job, knowing what you want and knowing what you bring. That is very important. So when you're available and you are at a place and space where you may be open to love and you're on this journey of better, that you are becoming more self aware, but you're also becoming more aware of the things that you want in life. And then, secondly, bring your authentic self to those relationships, to those conversations. Who you really are matters so much when you are in those early stages of a relationship that you're hoping will be a forever love relationship. So be authentic. Um, you know that doesn't mean sit down on a date and run through your credit score, and you stole something and when you were 13 out of the Walmart. No. But show up who you really are, as who you really are. And then thirdly, you know be open. Be open, because I think a lot of times, what I've learned is that we're so afraid of um, things not working out, that we become this self fulfilling prophecy. We're so afraid that the person may not accept who we are, may not embrace who we are, may not love who we are, may not find us wifey material, that we self sabotage. And I think we have to also be cognizant of that. So be aware, be authentic, be open. And so your homework for the week, ladies, is just that. If you're single and you're looking, think about this journey that you've been on for self awareness, self improvement, and start thinking really beyond the physical attributes. What do you want in a mate? Beyond, he's got to be 6'4", he's got to make this amount of money or have this job or these benefits. Or, okay. But beyond that, internally, what do you see? Does he make you laugh? Is he a man of integrity? Is he going to be someone who's about that monogamous life too? So you're clear that when you meet him, you know what you want. And while there may be some flexibility on some things, you want to know your priorities and you want to know these are the things that are must haves and these are the things that I can live without. So maybe he doesn't make me laugh. Maybe he's really intense, but you know what? He's passionate about what he's passionate about. So I can forego humor. But then there may be some women who say, I can't forego humor. Humor is really important to me, So know that.
And I would say too is that you're not a finished piece, and that person that you're meeting is not a finished piece. I think that people are constantly growing, and you want to be with someone you can grow together with. And so you're going to go through changes, you're going to go through developments. I mean, it's just people aren't what I am today is not what I was when me and Shay met.
Mm-hmm.
So there's core elements of myself that are still me. I'm still goofy, or I still do this, or I laugh, or whatever. But I didn't have a job when we met. I wasn't in the position that I'm in now, and I'm not suggesting that that's what drives you. But what I'm saying is that you have to be able to have the vision to look at the core of who people are as you're engaging them, because those are the things that matter. Because um, money comes and go, positions come and go, houses, vehicles, a person can lose their health. So you can get a person that could be a lot of things, but they could lose their health, and you could be taking care of them for the rest of your life. So it's really thinking about the core elements of the person, and the family you're marrying into. That's important. It's really important to know something about where this person's origin. It doesn't mean that that's who they are, but it's a part of their story. So you have to be open to understanding it and connecting to it. So I think that we as people need to give ourselves a little more grace when we're dealing with each other. And then we have to be able to have that supernatural vision when you're dealing with someone, to get past the exterior, or to get past our own selfishness when we're talking to people.
Mm. And that is really a great place to end it.
I didn't think I was going to talk like that.
No, but you spoke from your heart, and your heart is one of the first things that I saw and loved about you. So now you all know why I'm able to still be on this journey towards better, because I have a better half over here who
Ladies, the person you're looking for is around you. You just can't see him.
that's your
point.
That's your tip.
Yeah,
that's your tip.
That person is there. Is just your vision. Just like making money, taking care of your health. You don't have to go join the gym to get in health. If you really are committed to building your body up, you can build it at the playground. You can make money in different ways. The person, if you're truly committed to trying to build your family, build your future, have the person that's there for you, willing to be with you through thick and thin, honestly, that person is there. God has provided them. It's just changing your view, changing your perspective, and having enough courage to have your own perspective and having enough discipline to go after it.
Well said. So, as you get better, you will be able to open up your eyes and see all that lies around you for opportunities, for love, and for life. So, thank you for joining us on this episode 5 of the Better Not Perfect podcast, where you had an opportunity to meet the man that I write about in the book and hear a little bit from us, hear about our joint podcast, the Power Couple podcast, that we will be bringing back soon. So be on the lookout. You'll find out more information about it. But to find out more information about the Better Not Perfect movement, please visit www.drshaybutler.com and you will find all my social hashtags, all handles, everything you need to know about event dates, about merchandise, certainly about the book, and you get to hear more about how we're going to walk this journey together to get better and free and just live a life of abundance, because that's really what this is all about. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for the T-shirt. Thank
Oh
you for
yeah,
having me.
yeah. You gotta rep. You gotta rep.
I
You
will. I
know.
will. I will.
All right. Thank you, everyone. And
Thank
until
you.
next week, we'll see you again.
All right.
Thank you.